Welcome to podcast 43. Yes, maybe, but yes.
Hello, welcome back to podcast 43. I'm here with my host, Fulton Collins, and today we're going to be talking about Sam Raimi's The Quick and the Dead from 1995.
Hello. Get some dynamic sound design in there now. It's only taken us 54, 50 something episodes.
55 episodes, 56.
55. Nice.
A lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, Chris, how have you been?
I've been good. Just watching a lot of movies this past week.
Yeah, same here.
Which is always bad, spending all that time.
Puts me in a terrible mood. I got well, me and Chris have a lot to talk about today. I feel like, at least in terms of new releases. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get Dear Evan Hansen in, but
it's coming. It's coming soon.
Yeah, we'll do it.
You just gotta set some time aside, but we will make it out to the cinema to see. We like to celebrate these Broadway musicals that get film adaptations. It's a you got to support
special
them.
Time,
special event. Not a lot of these. Wicked still hasn't gotten a film adaptation yet.
I know, and we're starving. We're so hungry. You can hear our bellies gurgle.
Yeah, I
am. I guess, but without further ado, we'll jump right into our feature film, which is Sam Raimi's
Licorice Pizza by Paul Thomas Anderson.
We wish we had a screener copy. If we could do that, that would be pretty sick. But this week is Sam Raimi's 1995 Western. His Western take, called The Quick and the Dead, has Sharon Stone, a young Leonardo DiCaprio, a young, as much as I'm not too crazy about Russell Crowe. I have to admit he's pretty slick in this film. And it's also got Gene Hackman and an assortment of other cool actors. Me and Chris were trying to point him out, but we could not, to no avail, find where Kevin Connolly was.
Oh, sorry. It says I misread the credit. It was Kevin Conway. Okay, that's why. That's why we never saw him.
Don't tell me that, Chris.
Oh, damn it.
Well, me and Chris watched the whole film waiting for E from Entourage to pop back up.
But only Vinny, Johnny Drama, and Turtle were all there, though.
Yo, where's he? I don't know. I can't find him, man. Which one has to appreciate how many times me and you talk about Entourage on this show without ever actually covering the movie or any of the TV episodes. It's quite an astonishment.
I mean, yeah, we'll talk about the movie one day. I would love to discuss what it means in that cultural moment. So, The Quick and the Dead, though, also has Gene Hackman in it, which I was happy to see because it felt like a rehashing of Unforgiven in some ways, with Gene Hackman being kind of the villain of the film in this, as well as Unforgiven, and it being a Western. So I'm happy that he decided to reprise his Western archetypal role in The Quick and the Dead. But basically, I was surprised that, not on top of this movie not doing super well at the box office, like only making back 10 million worldwide of its $35 million budget. It also didn't get the best reviews at the time. And I find that hard to believe, because I think it is a very playful film that Raimi, like a lot of his filmmaking, it kind of is able to appreciate and nod to the past while also doing something inventive with Raimi's own like stylistic decisions. It's very much a spin on the standard Western, but it's it had, you know, with Sharon Stone in the role of the, you know, typical male kind of gunfighter that comes into a town and has to set the record straight. So it's interesting to see a, you know, a gender swapped version of that, and also paying homage to the films of Leone and other types of spaghetti westerns, as well as the traditional westerns, like by having such jarring camera angles. And like especially like the Dutch angles and like the snap zooms are just so lovely in the duels.
They're great. And one other thing I kind of wanted to highlight is Chris, I know you're more of like a Western head than I am. You have really gotten me into Westerns, but I think it's safe to say that you know more, and you kind of guide some of my knowledge in that. But I feel like in terms of the plot, I've never really seen a Western that has a plot quite like this one. And this is like a spoiler free. This is kind of just like the premise. This town has like a contest. And there's this big pot of money that you can win if you enter the contest, and it's basically like a gunslinger contest. And whoever survives till the end of the contest, you know, gets the pot of money. I'd never really heard of that, and me and Chris are making some jokes about it being kind of self-destructive from an economical standpoint for the town, because you have to kill like half your population in order to get the winner. But you know, but
Yeah,
I was just curious if you'd heard of any other westerns that had that kind of premise.
well, I personally have not seen another western with a with a plot like this. But yeah, I think it is. I think, yeah, I mean, like it is not economical at all. But I was just mainly talking about thematically, you know, how it's similar, where it's like a drifter coming into town and
oh no, I agree. I just was curious about like the contest, because I just think it's such a fun like idea for Sam Raimi to kind of play around with, and it is very like kind of wacky in a way, but the film treats itself very it's kind of serious and plays with some of the like the Western conventions.
my favorite thing though was like I thought that this movie wasn't going to be, I didn't think this movie was going to be PG-13. I thought this movie was PG-13 and not R, but then like you got to the part where like there was one duel where like some guy's head just gets a hole blown in it, and I was just like, well, never mind. But yeah, I think like knowing, I mean, I'm really happy that it was too, because Raimi works best when he's able to kind of be unchained from any type of like limits on his filmmaking, like like, you know, like Evil Dead 2 PG-13 version would be pretty lame.
Yeah.
But yeah, like as far as I mean, like the duels are the real highlight, as well as like the stacked cast. There's also like quite a few cameos of like people that are just in like lesser roles, like Gary Sinise is like Gary Sinise in like flashbacks and and all that. But I really think that revisionist westerns are something that like are very far and in between with like what they make now, because they'll make them they'll barely make like a western like most of the time, like in recent memory. I can't really think of a whole lot that they make, and when they do, it's usually an outlier. Like when we watched News of the World this year, that was definitely probably like the only western that came out that year that was like released on a large scale, at least.
Yeah.
But that's unfortunate, I think, because I think that I know that it's kind of like a dead genre, or people call it a dead genre, but I think that there are definitely some filmmakers that still look upon it fondly because of all the great memories that it provided for them, maybe in their childhood or just like in their upbringing as a big fan of cinema, like Quentin Tarantino or Sam Raimi.
Apparently John Carpenter always wanted to make a Western film.
Oh
That would
yeah.
be very interesting. But not
And Kelly Rearhart's Meek's Cutoff is one that I really want to see too.
Well, there was Buster Scruggs as well, but that
Ugh,
didn't go over too well.
Get that the fuck away from me.
And then I think Netflix is just, in terms of like what I can think of is coming out right now, I think Netflix is putting out like 2 separate Westerns, but I mean, knowing them, they could either blow up and get kind of big or just kind of fly very under the radar. But I guess to kind of, excuse me, to kind of guide our attention back to The Quick and the Dead. I don't even know where. Well, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, but there's a young Leo. So this is, I think, slightly after he was going to do Don's Plum.
It was during the shooting of Don's Plum. I don't know if you remember the documentary that we watched to accompany the film, where they talked about how this was a big role for him. I think they all decided to shoot Don's Plum when he was shooting The Quick and the Dead.
And he had to get back. That's why I wanted to like connect those, because I was trying to think. I was like, I'm pretty sure that was it, but I think it's safe to say that he kind of upgraded. And just to talk about Leo's performance really quick, I thought he would. I wish he would do more roles like this. Like I don't know how to describe what he does now, but I feel like he's always kind of going for the Oscar bait, if you feel what I mean. But I feel like he should do more fun roles like this, where he's in a Western, or get back to like the weird projects he used to do. I want to rewatch The Beach, but
I feel the same way. I mean, that's similar to Johnny Depp. I think both of them have fallen into that trap of only picking these monumental big roles because I guess they're just very widely lauded for their acting ability now. So they feel like they have to, or like they can't go back. Maybe it's similar to Peter Jackson too, where Peter Jackson's not going to probably make like a schlock.
I wish he would. There's The Frighteners is amazing, but should we talk about is there anything in particular you kind of wanted to bring up with Quick and the Dead?
Well, I think that one thing that I would like to bring up with this film is how it's very, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but like I kind of expected, like it's a very predictable film, and I don't really think that's safe to say. Yeah, I don't think that's bad in this case. I think it does a good job with what it has, but I think it's like more of like, if you really like Westerns, then you'll really like this film, or even if like a lot about Westerns, because you'll be able to have more fun with it. But like, I think anyone can like kind of tell you like, oh, this is kind of how things are gonna turn up. Sharon Stone's character's backstory is pretty obvious. Like,
I think the only thing that kind of saves that is the slow reveal of specifically how it happened, which I like, and I think it's a little goofy, but I can also see how it could happen in real life. I'm trying to avoid spoilers here, but it doesn't throughout the film, when Sharon Stone's character is dreaming, it's kind of alluding to her, her dark past that she's trying to overcome. And it just slowly builds throughout the film. And has a climax in the third act.
And Gene Hackman's a good villain in this, like always, as being a dirt bag. He's like this sheriff in the town that that's the one that makes everybody do this tournament like every year that have where they have a duel to the death, because he's like in charge of everything and like runs the town and everybody's scared of him, but he like always wins because he like rigs it in his favor by like having like people on the outlook like that will like pick you off and snipe you if you try to like beat him in a duel or something. So it's just totally unfair. But it does make you wonder, like, why doesn't somebody just shoot it?
I was thinking the same thing because I was like, I think anybody could really take an eagle eye kind of like perspective, and just kind of snipe him out. Um, and I mean, the film does go to great lengths to kind of show how many men he has around. So I guess that could be the film's answer for that. But I could think if you had like, two men, one to take out one of like because there's a big clock tower that's kind of that like looks over the small little town, where normally like he has like a man or maybe like two people up there. I could easily see that, you know, people being people working to kind of overcome those two outlooks and then just sniping him out. But there's a kind of interesting turn, I guess, in the like the near like the in um are we okay to talk about spoilers? Are you cool with that?
Yeah, no, I don't mind. Yeah.
Okay. Where it is revealed that kind of like the townspeople pitched in for like a bounty hunter to enter in the contest, enter into the contest to specifically kill him. I mean, they have like a short, Gene Hackman and the bounty hunter have like a short conversation, and then it goes to their duel. And unfortunately, the bounty hunter is killed, but I do like that line given by Gene Hackman where he talks about, well, all of y'all pay taxes. Maybe I ought to raise them because it seems like y'all have more money to just go around and hire a bounty hunter to kill me. Do you guys not see the issue in that? I might just have to raise the taxes.
I think he's right.
He's making a point.
Yeah, he made a good point. They need to be putting that money towards helping the community because Gene Hackman's doing a lot to make sure
like killing a half of the population in this little town
with their cool duels all the time. And so it's revealed later that Sharon Stone has a dark past.
Yeah.
And she actually wants to get revenge on Gene Hackman because he killed her father, or no, he made her.
It's a weird little
father because she was like a little girl and like he was about to hang her dad, and then Gene Hackman gave young Sharon Stone a gun and told her, you gotta aim to shoot the rope off, but she was a little girl, so she didn't have the best aim, so she accidentally shot her dad point blank in the
head. That's why I was saying it's a little goofy, but I can see it with the kid. It's a heavy rifle, not rifle, but revolver. I can see it happening. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility. But yeah, no, it's an interesting little thing that Sam Raimi kind of plays with Gene Hackman's character. And normally when he's really trying to put on a show, Gene Hackman, it happens I think like twice in the film, he'll kind of put a character on a stool and slowly shoot at the stool supports until the stool just like falls apart. And it makes for a pretty fun, interesting, like little bar scene in the beginning of the film with Russell Crowe's character. Which his character is interesting because he used to be a very famous gunslinger, and now he is a reformed man. He's a priest, and he is very anti-violence. And he's basically forced into the contest because Gene Hackman's character really wants to compete against him, because in the kind of mythos of this town, they too are the best gunslingers there ever were, and Gene Hackman never got to fight Russell Crowe before he gave up that life. So it's an interesting kind of little philosophical, I don't know if you want to call it philosophical, but it's an interesting internal debate that Russell Crowe's character has to have a lot of the time, on whether or not he wants to kill somebody or not when he's forced to.
Yeah, entirely. It's, it's all about how, like, the morality is mostly the morality in the film is mostly about how he's forcing, like, this guy that just has all the power, that's forcing all these people to do horrible things, and like pit the common man against each other just so he can stay in power and hold his position and continue to hold his grasp on these people as well. But what a follow-up to Army of Darkness.
I know. And then it just I think he, if I'm correct, I think he did Darkman and then Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Which is also is just such an interesting little, he has an interesting filmography that I still need to finish. I only have like a few that I need to finish. It's like Drag Me to Hell, Oz the Great and Powerful. I still kind of want to see, although my expectations aren't too high.
I forgot that he directed that.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I remember hearing good things about Drag Me to Hell, but then I didn't really like it too much, but maybe I just wasn't in the mood.
Yeah. From my understanding, it's supposed to be like a return to form for him.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
But I've yet to see it, unfortunately. Oh
no, Darkman was before this.
It was? Oh, was it the movie before?
No, it was Darkman, Army of Darkness, Quick and the Dead.
Oh, okay. Okay. I guess the just one final thing I wanted to say about the film is I do like the way it plays with bullet wounds. Because there's so many shots.
Well, there's that one character, the Native American guy, that says that he can't die from a bullet wound. He just like shows off like, I've been shot like 5 times in the leg and I've been shot 16 times in the chest.
That's a great little oh yeah, I forgot about that for a moment.
Yeah, it's really funny.
I was thinking about there's some shots at the end of a duel when the character who has been shot, you kind of see his shadow and you can see the bullet hole perfectly. You can see the kind of light poking through the bullet hole in the shadow, and I thought that was very fun.
Yeah, there's the way that they play with that is very unique, on top of like how they shoot any type of shootout, where it's like always just at a Dutch angle, so it feels kind of, I don't know, I guess the purpose of it is to make it so it feels like you're more part of the action, because there's just so much sudden movement, which I think is pretty cool. I
did not know this, but apparently Bruce Campbell does have a cameo in this.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Since it's a Sam Raimi movie and he cameos in most of them.
I just didn't catch him at the time.
Yeah, I wonder who he was.
It says he was the wedding shimp. Excuse me. But I don't remember the wedding.
Damn.
I'd have to look up a photo of it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
It happens. There's a lot going on in that movie. So
there is
it makes
lot.
sense. But were there any kind of final thoughts that you wanted to put on The Quick and the Dead?
Other than that, I'd recommend it. That's all.
Yeah. Same for me. And if you like this and you want more Sam Raimi, I can easily recommend the Evil Dead trilogy or the Spider-Man trilogy. I don't know if I can fully recommend Darkman, but I do kind of want to rewatch it and kind of regather my thoughts on it. But he is one of my favorite filmmakers. he just always has a lot of fun with his films. So that's kind of my recommendation for further viewing. If you like Quick and the Dead, and I recommend Quick and the Dead.
Yeah. Well, similarly,
Mm.
I would say start off with Evil Dead, then Evil Dead 2, then Army of Darkness as well. Especially since it will be October in 3 days. So, all right. So I guess we should have our ad break. So this week, I
are we just quickly, I wanted to ask you, with recent releases, are we covering Oasis?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
do it.
All right. So I guess we'll go through recent releases real quick. So me and Chris made a trip to our local theater to see Oasis Knebworth 1996, which is a concert documentary
directed by Ridley Scott's son.
Well, that's it's interesting. I'm interested to know if he's going to continue. But quick side note, we're getting Ridley Scott back to back because we're getting The Last Duel in October, and then we're getting
House
the
of
House of
Gucci.
Gucci in November, I believe, which is it's just very insane. But
especially considering he's like, it's like when Clint Eastwood released the 1517 to Paris and the Mule in the same year.
Yeah,
it's Ridley Scott's like also like 80, 83. Yeah.
But Oasis Knebworth 1996 is a concert / documentary about the concert, but it's a doozy, I would say.
Yeah, it's
very
quite a dud.
weird.
It's about this concert that happened in Knebworth in 1996 which was a venue in England. It's a massive field. It's a field in England. And so Oasis played at this venue, and there were about 250,000 people there, which is what they keep telling you, and how it's
how massive it was.
It was a massive event. Yeah. And that is insane. Like, don't get me wrong, that's pretty nuts. But also I just think that they have all these fans that were there, and they talk about their experiences, and I don't really care that much about like your personal experiences.
I think I understand the idea behind it, but I think it kind of detracts from the film more than it adds to it,
especially when they speak over the actual concert footage and like the performances. So if you like Oasis, then you're gonna have people talking over these live performances of songs. So I don't know. They also do these bad like reenactments, like live action reenactments that I just think look atrocious. Like I'm just kind of against that type of thing in documentary filmmaking, because I think a lot of the times it really kind of distracts from the point that you're trying to make, or kind of makes it very like melodramatic. Like there's this part where they're showing like a kid like sitting in his room because he like missed the concert, and he's just like, he just looks like totally sad and angry and like kind of emo hours. And that was dumb.
I don't think I'm continue, sorry.
Oh, and I was gonna say, and then they started talking about how much they hated how much they hate how people have phones now and they don't live in the moment.
Yeah, that was such a weird little leg for the film to take, because it happens at the very end, and they're like, well, it happened before the pre-internet and really post-internet age, and it was like right at the apex of it. I was gonna say, I don't think I'm as negative on the film as maybe you are, because I know that footage has been out there, but I've never actually seen any of that footage. So seeing some of that footage kind of, I guess remastered and kind of touched up, it did look very nice. So I liked kind of that aspect of it. So I don't know really if I could recommend this to you if you have seen that footage. That's really the only leg that I'm kind of positive on. But yeah, no, it's super. It's I like I said, I can kind of see what they're trying to do, but I don't think they should have included so many like firsthand accounts of fans going to the concert, because I think more often than not it kind of amounts to the same thing being said, but it's said like 40 times within this film. And that gets a little kind of it gets a
Redundant.
little draining. Yeah. And yeah, I don't think I have too much really to add on to that, other than I think it kind of, detracts. But I do like the shots of Liam and Noel kind of messing with each other. I thought that was kind of funny. And you get voiceovers from both of them in the film, but Liam's is very odd because it only really comes in like once throughout the whole entire ordeal, and he like
Yeah.
immediately contradicts himself. Um, but Liam, I mean, they're both characters, so it has to be as expected sometimes.
Yes.
Was Did you see any other new releases this week?
No, I didn't see anything else. But I know you did, right?
Yeah, I saw two movies. I'll just talk about them. Well, I'll get Cryptozoo out the way. Cryptozoo is an animated film that I saw to get like a bonus point for my film class. But I wasn't really looking forward to it, but I will admit that I did like it. It's got a very well, I I will admit the first half I don't believe is as strong as the second half. But I did enjoy the animation kind of the longer I got to be with it. Because at first I wasn't too crazy about it. The opening is very funny and kind of shocking. Not like super shocking, but it just wasn't what I was expecting. um and it has Michael Sarah, animated form Michael Sarah having sex with a woman. He's like, and I just thought it was very funny, but it's probably just because it's Michael Sarah. But the animation is very interesting. It's kind of like a riff on like 50s and 60s like sci-fi kind of comic book, um like science fiction kind of comic book art. So that's pretty entertaining. um so I don't have too much to say about Cryptozoo, so I'll just kind of jump into The Eyes of Tammy Faye. The Eyes of Tammy Faye is Michael Showalter's new film. It has Jessica Chastain as Tammy Faye and Andrew Garfield as Jim Baker. And I've been kind of looking forward to this film for a while, ever since I kind of saw the trailer. Because I was talking about it with Chris, and I feel like when I think about Andrew Garfield, I feel like he has so many more movies than he actually has. But when you look at it, it's like he probably has like, I don't know, like roughly like 18 movies, give or take, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. But I feel like I've seen like a big bulk of his films. And so I went to this for him. I'm not a big Jessica Chastain fan, but I will admit she actually did do very good in this. um
Why don't you like Jessica Chastain?
I don't think she's a bad actor. I don't know, it's just like a personal thing. I don't like.
What did she do? What did she ever do to you?
She didn't do anything to me. I wish I could say she like punched me in the face or something. I think that'd be kind of funny for the story of it. But um I have nothing against Jessica Chastain, but there's just some actors and actresses that just haven't like really clicked for me, like Mark Ruffalo, Russell Crowe, or Gerard Butler. Jessica Chastain unfortunately falls into that, but she did do very good. I thought the acting like all around was really good in this movie. Um, and so I thought the performances are pretty strong, but I kind of question the directing, which because I don't want to like spoil it, but I'll try to do my best without spoiling it. One other thing, I really like the cinematography of this film too. I really like the way it looked. But without further ado, my issue with the film kind of stems that they treat Tammy Faye pretty much very serious, and you can tell that it is trying to be kind of like a caring and empathetic like portrayal of her, and it's trying to be pretty honest. But Michael Showalter's roots are in comedy, so I think he does try to do comedic bits within the film, but I think they ultimately kind of um they kind of like side rail it a little bit, or like it gets a little sidetracked when it's trying to do comedy. I mean, I think it would be more beneficial. um I mean, you can't have comedy in dramas, that it's very possible, but I think with this film it wasn't really able to land doing both at the same time, because when it did those comedic bits it almost seemed like it was mocking the characters. So more often than not, I think Jim Baker, a lot of the comedic bits kind of come out of him, and it does seem like it is mocking him. And my issue with that is that while Jim Baker and Tammy Faye are separate, the whole film is about their relationship and within their beliefs. And even though they have different beliefs on certain things within religion, I think that it tries to make fun of the kind of God bless America, thank you Jesus Lord, God bless America thing, which I know that might not be super clear, but I'm having like difficulty trying to describe it. And a lot of that stems from Jim Baker, so I feel like when you're kind of making fun of him, you're also kind of making fun of her, because she'll do similar things, but it's not played up so comedic. And then I have an issue kind of with the third act with how it handles um just one bit. So maybe I have a reading of the film, and it's not trying to mock them, but I just couldn't tell if some of these moments in the film are supposed to be comedic or if they're supposed to be serious. And that's kind of like where my main issue lies with it. Because I mean, I feel like the film is trying to be very, very, it's definitely trying to paint a portrait of Tammy Faye. And I think it's very trying to be kind of sweet to her, because it was what happened to her is very unfortunate. But it's weird if you are trying to be sweet to someone and then you're making fun of them at the same time. It's a weird kind of unevenness to me.
Okay. Well, I can't provide my insight on that because I still have yet to see The Eyes of Tammy Faye, but I will hopefully be able to see it soon.
I would like to talk to you. I want to talk to more people about it because it is an interesting movie. I do like it.
Dear Evan Hansen is higher on the list, though.
I understand priorities.
And for me, the film that I would like to talk about first is, for my top three, is Paris, Texas, which is, the Wim Wenders film, or the Wim Wenders film from 1984 with Harry Dean Stanton and Natasha Kinski. It's a very, I mean, it's pretty well known, especially in art house circles, but I just never gotten around to it until last week. It's a very pretty film. It's a nice kind of road trip in that art house way. I also really appreciate how you really sympathize with Travis, who's Harry Dean Stanton's character, until like the end, and they kind of reveal this like bad, horrifying stuff about him. And so it really kind of makes the audience kind of consider their sympathy towards him as a character. And I think that Natasha Kinski is also just a really excellent presence in the film. She's very lively personality in the film, and she does a really good Southern accent for being someone that's from she's from from being from someone from Germany, but yeah, that's really all I'm gonna say on that. And then number two this week was Drillbit Taylor.
Nice.
Directed by Stephen Brill and written by Seth Rogen, starring Owen Wilson. This is a movie that people really don't seem to be too fond of. We're talking 2.4 on Letterboxd. It really kind of came and went. I remember lobbying my mom and being like, "Mom, come on, we got to go see Drillbit Taylor at the theater. This movie looks sick." And she wouldn't let me because it was PG-13.
You were
But
12.
I wish. Nah, man, I was 8. I was not of the right age to to listen to such foul language in a PG-13 movie. But I think it's a really nice movie. I think that Owen Wilson has a really good performance as the titular Drillbit Taylor. And just the concept of 3 high schoolers that keep getting bullied at their high school, and they're like freshmen, hiring a homeless man that convinces them that he's like a professional bodyguard, I think is a really funny concept for a film. And it nearly wouldn't work as well if the kids weren't also just really good in their roles. They weren't like ever annoying or anything. I thought that they were really funny, and they had just some great chemistry. Underneath it all, you also have some social commentary on homelessness and how one views that, and how Drillbit Taylor is kind of a hero, because he decides that I need to fight for the rights of the homeless people. I need to he's always looking out for the homeless community, including his friend Danny McBride, who also is in this movie, which is no surprise as a Seth Rogen written film. So yeah, Drillbit Taylor,
a childhood favorite of mine.
And since it is Albert Brooks autumn, I watched Defending Your Life for the first time, which is the 1991 Albert Brooks film, which is a satire, or no, not satire, but it's it's a Brooksian type. It's a comedy in his typical style of kind of being witty, while also kind of poking fun at like modernity. But it's also kind of it also has some elements of fantasy in it, because it's about a guy that dies in a car accident, and he has to go to heaven and like show his worth in a court of law, and they look at like 9 days of his life, and he has to like defend them. And it's also like heaven just looks exactly like America. And then there's also like, and Rip Torn is his lawyer. And
oh my god, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's it's another one of those movies that make you think, like Albert Brooks is like what Albert Brooks is good at. So yeah, check that one out too, Defending Your Life from 1991, as we continue through Albert Brooks autumn, which will eventually lead up to me and Fulton doing a Albert Brooks centric episode.
Just throw my hat in the ringer for Albert Brooks autumn. Me and Chris baptized me with Lost in America, because I've never really seen any Albert Brooks. His voice is ingrained in my head because of Finding Nemo as a kid. So I have a weird kind of like, I feel kind of comfortable in his voice, but that just makes it very funny to me. And so, yeah, what a lovely film Lost in America is. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's really funny. It's just such a good damn movie. I don't really know. I don't have like too much to say on it, but I just kind of wanted to do that as a side note. And then so my top 3 in no particular order. I guess I'll talk about Manhunter really quick. Michael Mann's Manhunter. from 1986. This is I forget. I think the book is called Red Dragon. It's one of the Hannibal Lecter books. And for those who might not know, this film was also remade in like the early 2000s by Brett Ratner. And that one had oh hell, what's his name?
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton, thank you. Oh my god, I couldn't remember his name. And so I had seen that one a really long time ago, and then I'm also a fan of the Hannibal show, which also kind of did its own take on the Red Dragon kind of storyline. So I've seen this storyline done a lot and in three different ways. So I started this movie forever ago, and then I finally sat down to like watch it. Because I have that shout Blu-ray, which Chris let me know that I did not know it was so I didn't know it was out of print. So that one is kind of cool to have as like a little collector's item. And I don't dislike the movie. Like I do like it. But I didn't think I would say this, but I actually kind of prefer Red Dragon to it.
Disgusting. Awful.
I know.
Get the fuck out of here. What?
And I want to rewatch Red Dragon to really like see because it's been like I think it's been like a year since I've seen Red Dragon, a year and some change or
It's
something.
literally filmed in Atlanta, Fulton. What the fuck?
I listen, man. I mean, they're very similar. The biggest thing to me that I like about Red Dragon over Manhunter is, I mean, the casting is a big part of it because Ralph Fiennes is great. I mean, he's good at doing villains, but I think he's very good in kind of like the Red Dragon role as the villain of Red Dragon. And then I also like Edward Norton more as Will Graham. I'm not too crazy about the actor who portrays him in Manhunter. Yeah, I'm not too crazy about him in this one. But the thing that I like about Red Dragon more is the way that they kind of build up the Red Dragon simultaneously to building up Will Graham coming back into the kind of world of being an FBI investigator. What are they called? I'll just say FBI investigator. I know there's a better term for it, but the Red Dragon kind of builds them up simultaneously, where I feel like Manhunter kind of tries to do the same thing, but it waits till the middle of the film. And I will admit, the longer I watch Manhunter, the more I did like it, but I don't think I ever really enjoyed it as much as I did Red Dragon. So you'll probably hear me talk about Red Dragon here within the month because it's Halloween and I want to rewatch it. But moving on from that, I have Help from Richard Lester, which is the follow-up to A Hard Day's Night. I find this movie fun. I don't think I have too much to say about it just because I think you kind of do compare it to A Hard Day's Night, which I think is a better film. I think it's more tight. This one is pretty much a straight up comedy. It does have some really fun bits with like Paul shrinking and being like, they do I always love when they do this, but they have really, really big props to make like a human body look small. So I thought that was a really fun little scene. But yeah, this film feels more of like a straight up slapstick comedy than A Hard Day's Night was. The plot is, it's a weird little plot. But yeah, no, this is I would say check it out. Like if you're a Beatles fan, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. So next up on my list is to get Magical Mystery Tour. And hopefully I'll get How I Won the War out one day, but that one might require multiple viewings to understand what is being said.
No.
And lastly, I wanted to talk to you about this one, Chris, because I believe you have seen it. Halloween 2. Have you seen Halloween 2?
The
81.
Rob Zombie one or the original?
The original. Sorry, the 1981.
Oh yeah, no, I like Halloween too. Yeah.
Okay. Why in the beginning? Because this film was also written by the same team that wrote the first one, which is John Carpenter, Barbara Hill.
Yeah.
I want to say. In the ending of Halloween 1, Michael Myers falls out the back. He falls like into the backyard, but in Halloween 2, he falls into the front yard. I was just super confused by that. And I know that like in the grand scheme of everything, it doesn't really make any sense, but I just found it a really odd like inconsistency that could have been like completely like avoided. I don't, but so that kind of confused me. But I will admit, I don't know if I'm super crazy about this one.
I mean, it's not like revolutionary. I just think it's like, as far as like the slasher sequels go, it's fine. Like there's some, I mean, it takes place in a hospital, the whole movie. And there's
I do like that idea.
There's some pretty neat kills. And then there's the scene at the end, which is like usually the only thing that people talk about with when Donald Pleasance's character, Dr. Loomis, when he shoots Michael Myers' eyes out and his eyes start bleeding and then he catches him on fire.
That is a fun little thing. Yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't too crazy about it, but I think that ultimately comes to like, what do I like in terms of like the Michael Myers character? Like, I think I prefer the kind of Rob Zombie not like I like how in the Rob Zombie films and which I haven't seen the second one, but I do plan on watching it. But I like in the Rob Zombie films and the new David Gordon Green movie how he's this kind of like huge kind of force of like brutality and like anger and just like pure muscle. He looks very, very scary just by looking at him. And I find it very funny in Halloween 2. It's been a while since I've seen the first Halloween, so he could look just like this in the first Halloween, and I might just be misremembering, but I feel like he looks really kind of dinky and kind of skinny in Halloween 2, and he just is like walking all around. And I just find his presence to be kind of funny more than like intimidating. And I don't hate the movie. I was super excited to watch it. I don't think it really lived up to my personal expectations of it, which is fine. I mean, it doesn't have to.
It's not anything to write home about, especially when you have Halloween 3 Season of the Witch next up, which is the real heater of the sequel.
Yes, I love that one.
Well, all right. I think that is everything we have for you this week, but I guess we can announce our new film, or next week's film, which is going to be Andrei Zulawski's Possession, to kick off the month of Halloween with a special guest. So have a good week and stay wavy.
Goodbye. Stay safe.
Oh, Mark. Your wife keeps her own secrets.
Make her talk to me. It'll be the way that she wants. Tell me.
Well, I think what you want to do to Bob is just...
Inhuman. So what you're doing must be human. What's gonna happen to us?
After you!
Don't stop coming!
Why, I have to go!
I'll follow you!
You can hate me as much as you like, but But it's you who wants to know things for me. So please make it possible.
You've hardened. For the first time, you look vulgar to me.
You are not different from anyone else. We are all the same, but in different words, with different bodies, different versions, like insects, meat.
What is it? What the hell?